Hey you guys, my name is Brittany Bryden. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today's class is a power flow that will be leading you up into forearm balance. So it will be a little bit more on the intermediate advanced side, so please make sure you modify and listen to your body. That being said, let's rock and roll. We're gonna start off on our backs. So as you come onto your backs, you're gonna bring both knees in towards your chest. And take a moment, just rock side to side. Nothing specific, you're just moving and rolling on the back. Now you're gonna keep your right leg in towards your chest, interlace your hands below your right knee, and take your left leg long and press your left heel into the floor. And then from there, do some bigger circles with that right hip. So you're gonna go in all different directions. And then hug that right leg back in towards the chest. Activate more through your left leg, so flex that foot and hover your left heel just a little bit above the floor. Anchor the pelvis into the mat. Now lift your head and your chest up so both shoulder blades come off the floor. So from here, you can keep using your hands below the knee, or you're gonna reach your arms forwards. Either way, I want you to keep lifting the chest up and keep hugging that right leg in. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and then come on your backs and bring both knees in towards your chest. So now keep your left leg in and take your right leg long, press your right heel into the floor, and do those circles through your left hip. Hug your left leg in, flex that right leg, or flex that right foot and activate through the right leg, lift that right heel a little bit above the floor. Lift your head, lift your chest up, both shoulder blades come off the ground. So you can stay there with the hands below the knee, or you're gonna reach your arms forwards. But hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Now this time I want you to take an inhale. As you exhale, switch legs. So bring your right leg in and take your left leg forwards. Take a breath in, and then exhale to switch legs. So you're gonna continue on your own. So you can go slower than the pace that I'm going, or you can go quicker. Just follow your breath. Try to keep both shoulder blades off the floor. Getting that knee that's bent as close to the chest as possible. Last 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Bend your knees, come onto your backs, hug the legs into your chest. Set your feet down on the mat about hip distance apart, hands on the floor, framing your hips. So as you push the feet down, lift the hips up a little bit, and then curl under with the pelvis. So turn on the glutes and the hamstrings, keep that work, and then lift the hips up towards the ceiling. So if there's a point where your back overrides the glutes, you went too high. You wanna make sure the glutes and hamstrings are working, and then lower the bum down to a hover, and then lift the hips back up to extension. Lower the hips down, and then lift back up. So doing a couple more glute bridge lifts on your own. Next time the hips lift, you can stay where you are, or you're gonna walk your shoulder blades underneath you, interlace the hands. As you press the palm of the hands together, ground the arms to the floor. And then releasing the fingers, slowly roll down the back. Bring both knees in towards your chest. Rock and roll a few times up and down the back until you come all the way up. Make your way onto your hands and knees and table. Shoulders over top of the wrists, knees hip distance apart. Come into your neutral spine. And in your neutral spine, I want you to notice if there's an area where you just naturally tend to collapse into. And instead, can you support the spine by lifting up through the core? Now, that support's gonna stay there, but we're gonna just work through your shoulder blades. So you're gonna drop your chest down towards the floor, retract your shoulder blades, meaning squeeze the shoulder blades together. And now protract, so spread the shoulder blades apart as you push away from the floor. Retract, chest down, shoulder blades towards one another. and then protract. Find that dome in the upper back. One more round, lower the chest down, and then protract. Now keeping that protraction, curl under with the pelvis a little bit, tuck your toes under, lift your knees just an inch above the floor. So notice if your chest is starting to drop down already, keep that protraction. Now pull your hands to your feet and vice versa. Set your knees down. Puppy, walk your hands forwards. Bring the forehead down to the ground. And then bring your elbows to the floor. Bring your hands together in prayer and send your fingers up to the ceiling. Walk your elbows forwards another inch. And then envision like you're trying to get your armpits to touch the floor. And then bring your forearms down to the ground and come into a forearm table. So bring your shoulders right over top of the elbows, press your hands down into the ground. Cat-cow, so you're gonna lift your chest with the gate of the shoulders, send the tailbone up. And then as you push the forearms down, protract through the shoulder blades and round. Again, lift the chest forwards, tailbone up, and then round. One more time, lift the chest forwards, and then round and stay there. So keeping that dome that you have in the upper back right now, just take the crown of the head forwards. Step your feet back and come into forearm plank. So make sure you're not hiking the hips up towards the ceiling. You're curling under with the pelvis. Engage the inner thighs like there's a block in between your inner thighs that you're hugging into. And you're gonna lower the knees to the floor. Untuck the toes, tops of feet press into the ground. Sphinx, lift your chest forwards and up. And then lower the chest down, interlace the hands behind the back of the head, elbows are wide, and then lift the elbows off the floor. So keeping the elbows lifted, now lift your head and lift your chest up without pushing your chin forwards, and then lower back down. Again, lift the head, lift the chest up, elbows still wide, and then lower down. One more time, lift yourself up, and then lower. Place your hands on the ground, framing your lower rib cage. Tuck your toes under. Press yourself up through table. And then hips go up and back, come into downward dog. So take a moment to make any adjustments in your downward dog that feel good. So that might mean adding some movement through the legs. Maybe closing the eyes and moving the head in different directions. And then lift your heels up, bend the knees, walk forwards, come to the top of the mat. Bring your fingertips to the shins, you're gonna lift up halfway, and then fold into the legs. Come up to stand, reach both arms up. Hands interlaced behind the back of the head. So I just want you to bring your elbows in towards center. Make sure your shoulders aren't coming up towards the ears, so keep the shoulders down. Now hug your ribs in and make sure your rib cage is tracking right over top of the pelvis. And then engage the inner thighs and the glutes, and I just want you to envision like you're lifting the crown of the head up. So press the head into the hands, lift the crown of the head up, draw the ribs in. One more breath here, and then let it go. Reach both arms up towards the ceiling. Hinge from the hips and fold forwards into the legs. Fingertips to shins, come up halfway. Set your hands down and step back, a downward dog. Now from here, you're gonna come down onto your forearms, interlace the hands and press the palm of the hands together. So you might have to bend your knees a lot here. Keep sending the hips back. Look forwards. Lean your shoulders forwards and tap your chin to the hands, and then reset yourself. Look forwards, lean forwards, tap the chin to the hands, and then reset, send the hips back. One more time, tap the chin to the hands, reset into dolphin, and then walk your feet back, come into forearm plank. Ground your hands, take a breath there, and then lower the knees, untuck the toes, sphinx, lift the chest forwards and up. Lower the chest down, hands beside your lower rib cage this time, elbows hug in. Baby cobra, pull the chest forwards and up, draw your hands to your feet, and then lower down. Tuck your toes under, press yourself up through table or maybe plank, and come into downward dog. Heels lift, bend your knees, hop or step, come to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, lengthen, and then fold into the legs. Come to stand, reach both arms up, and then interlace the hands behind the back of the head. Elbows wrap in. Lift the crown of the head up, hug the ribs in, use the inner thighs. Just take one breath here, and then relax the arms down. Both arms reach up, fold forwards into the legs. Halfway lift to lengthen. Set the hands down, step back, downward dog. Lower down onto your forearms, interlace the hands, press the palm of the hands together. Take the gaze forwards, lean the shoulders forwards, chin tap, and then reset. 2 more like that. Tap the chin of the hands, reset. 1 more time. Awesome. Ground your hands, walk your feet back, forearm plank. Take a breath in, and then exhale, lower down. Sphinx, lift the chest forwards and up, and then lower to the floor, hands beside the lower rib cage. Baby cobra, pull the chest forwards and up, press the feet in the ground, make sure you're using your glutes. And then lower, tuck the toes under, table or plank, come into downward dog. Heels lift, bend the knees, hop or step, make your way to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, fold into the legs. Come to stand, both arms reach up. Hands together, interlace the hands behind the back of the head. Draw the elbows in, lift the crown of the head up, rein the ribs in, use the inner thighs and the glutes. And then relax the arms down. Last time, arms reach up, fold forwards into the legs. Halfway lift, hands down, step back, downward dog. Coming down onto the forearms, interlace the hands. Lean forwards, tap the chin of the hands, and then reset. 2 more, chin tap, and then reset. 1 more, tap, reset. And then come into forearm plank, ground the hands. Take a breath there. And then lower down onto the floor. Chest forwards and up. And then lower, hands beside the lower rib cage. So you can either come to that baby cobra, like we've been doing, lifting the chest, or as you press the feet in the ground, lift the legs to a hover and come into your upward dog. And then we'll meet in downward dog. So now in your downward dog, bring your big toes to touch. Engage to your inner thighs. Lift the heels up as you send your hips back and take your right leg up towards the ceiling. Bend that top knee, so bring the heel in towards the glute and then rotate your hips towards the right, sending that right knee up. So make sure you're not pushing forwards with the ribs. Hug the ribs in. You can bend that bottom knee. Use the fingers. Press the hands into the ground. And then 3-legged dog. So square off the hips, straighten that right leg, right toes face the floor. Bend your left knee and get your chest as close to the left thigh as you can. Roll it forward, so bring your knee to your nose as your shoulders come over top of the wrists or fingers. Get that knee as close to the chest as you can. Protract through the shoulder blades. Take that right leg back up. Bend the standing leg, chest towards the thigh. So you can do that again. Bring your knee to your nose, shoulders come forwards. Protract as much as you possibly can. And then right leg back up, bend the standing leg. 1 more time, come forwards, knee to nose. So really find that flexion through the right hip. And then step your right foot down beside your right thumb. Left knee lowers to the floor. Low lunge, both arms come up towards the ceiling. Interlace the hands behind the back of the head like we've been doing. Elbows hug in. Lift the crown of the head up and then let your head fall back into the hands as you tip the elbows up towards the ceiling. Now hands come down and frame your right foot. Tuck your left toes under, pick up your back knee. Stay high in the ball of that back foot. Hips go up and back for a long pyramid pose. You're going to straighten your front leg and fold. And then come into a lunge. So bend in the front leg, bring the chest forwards. Hips go up and back, straighten the legs and fold. 1 more time, bend into the front leg. Hips go back, option to flex your right foot here. So you can bring your hands closer to you or you can walk your hands towards the front of your mat. You're going to bend into your front leg now and drop your back heel to the center of the mat. Bring yourself all the way up and come into warrior 2. So as you bend in that front leg, actively press that knee open and make sure you're not rolling into the arch of your back foot. So legs stay nice and strong, just reverse, reach out right arm up and over. And then come back into warrior two. Take your right forearm to the right thigh, left arm either to the ceiling or maybe towards the front of the mat. You can keep your right hand where it is, or you can set your hand to the inside of that right foot. But again, just make sure you're not collapsing to that back foot. Curl under with your pelvis slightly. Pull your heels towards one another. And then bring yourself up, warrior two. Straighten both legs, turn your toes to face the left side so the feet are parallel to the short ends of the mat. You're gonna come to skater, so as you bend into your left leg, press the left knee open and lower the hips down, but keep the chest lifted. And then skater over to the other side. So just go side to side on your own. And then next time you bend into that right leg, we're gonna turn this into an easy twist. So pivot to face the front of the mat, left hand down, reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Start to come onto the outer edge of your left foot, and you're gonna stack your feet for side plank. So use the inner thighs, your hips are square to the side wall, and then lift your right leg up. Take a small step behind you, so you're on the ball of that right foot. Come in a wild thing, so it can be more of a side bend for you or more of a back bend today. We're gonna come through center, and as you do that, you're gonna lower down onto your right forearm, followed by the left forearm, and interlace your hands. Walk your feet in and come into that dolphin. So you can stay exactly where you are, or you're gonna try taking your right leg to the ceiling. Your gaze comes forwards. Lift up high in the ball of that left foot. Then as you lean the shoulders forwards, you're gonna roll off that bottom foot and just bring your heel in towards your glute. So you can do little hops here, but just don't overshoot it. Easier said than done, I get it. Give you about a few more breaths of playtime. And then we'll meet in that forearm plank. Ground the hands, and then lower down the knees. Woo! Sphinx. Lift the chest forwards and up. And then lower. Hands to the ground. Just shift your hips back into a child's pose. Take a few breaths. Reset yourself in child's pose before we do that second side. All right, take a big breath in and then clear it out. Okay, downward dog. Bring your big toes to touch. So heels lift, send the hips back. Left leg goes up towards the ceiling. Bend that top knee so the heel comes in towards the glute. Rotate the hips to the left and send that knee up. Square off the hips, three-legged dog, so straighten that left leg. Bend your right knee and get your chest as close to the right thigh as you can. Bring that left knee to your nose as the shoulders come forward. So really try to protract through the shoulder blades. Think of that core work we did at the beginning of class. And then take that left leg back up, bend the standing leg, chest towards the thigh. Again, roll forwards, bring your knee into your nose. And then again, left leg up. One more time, come forwards, knee to nose. And then step your foot down beside your left thumb, back knee to the floor, both arms reach up. Hands interlace behind the back of the head, elbows hug into center. So lift the crown of the head up and then lean back as you send the elbows up. Hands come to the ground, framing your left foot. Tuck your back toes under, pick up your back knee. Hips go up and back, long pyramid pose as you fold over top of the left leg. Lunge, bend of the front leg, chest comes forwards. And then hips go up and back, fold. One more time, lunge. Hips go back, and again, as we stay here, option to flex that left foot. And then come into that lunge to set up the legs. So drop your right heel down to the center of the mat. Keep your legs nice and strong as you come up in your warrior two. Take a moment to feel out how this warrior two feels in the body. And then reverse it, reach that left arm up and over. And back into warrior two. Extended side angle, so either forearm to the thigh or hand down to the floor. Right arm to the ceiling, or you're gonna bring your bicep to hover above the ear. Draw the ribs in. And then come back up into your warrior two. Straighten the front leg, turn and face the right side, feet parallel to the short ends. Bend into the right leg, come on your skater. And you're just gonna go side to side. So try to keep the hips low instead of doing these big circles as you go side to side. Envision like your hips are moving on a straight line. And then next time you bend into the left leg, you're gonna pivot to face the front. So easy twist, right hand down, reach that left arm up towards the ceiling. Shift onto the outer edge of that right foot, stack your feet, side plank. So as you engage the inner thighs, use your glutes. Ribs hug in. Left leg lifts, take a small step behind you, come into that wild thing. All right, so as you move through center, you're gonna come down onto your left forearm, followed by the right forearm. Interlace the hands and press the palm of the hands together. Walk your feet in as you set up for that dolphin. Again, you can stay where you are, or if you wanna play around with it, left leg to the ceiling. Take your gaze slightly forwards. Hips lift, lean the shoulders forwards, and you try little baby hops as you bend that right knee and hug the heel in, or maybe you catch a little air and hold there. We're gonna meet in forearm plank. Woo! And then lower it down. Well done, friends. Sphinx. Oh, I got a sweat on. I hope you did too. Lower. We obviously did a lot through the shoulders. So we're gonna take our left arm out to the left side. Press the palm of the hand down. Hand in line with the shoulder or it's slightly ahead. Roll over onto that left hip and just bring both knees in towards your chest. So you can stay there. Maybe you prefer to wrap that right arm behind the back here. And slide the legs back as you come onto your stomach. Setting up for the other side, so reach your right arm out, palm of the hand down. Roll over onto the right hip. Bring your knees into the chest. And close the eyes. And then send the legs back as you come onto your stomachs. We're just gonna take a moment here on our stomachs. So you can take the arms back and let the shoulders round in, or you can stack your hands and rest your forehead on the hands. I just want you to close your eyes. Wiggle your hips side to side. And then allow yourself to get as heavy as you can into the floor. So anytime that we're working on inversions, usually our fear response kicks in. So when we're on our stomachs, it tells our nervous system that we're okay, that we're safe. It can relax. So we're going to take about 1 more minute here. Allowing our system the opportunity to calm down. If you have one ear to the floor, just switch ears. Place your hands on the ground. Take your time. Just shift your hips back. Come to a child's pose. And then slowly rolling up the spine so you're sitting on the heels, chest lifted. Just keep the eyes closed. Take one hand in your heart, one hand in your belly. Check in with yourself and how you're feeling. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And I'll leave you with this gentle reminder to always be humble and always be kind. Thank you, and namaste.